Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, man. Friday night, what else would you rather do than get on YouTube and talk football? I'm going to go ahead and double up, make sure I am good on the YouTube side. It's on the delay, but I should be good to go. And something is not right. Oh, boy. Something is not right. All right, bear with me one moment. For some reason or another, it's not showing up on YouTube. Okay, never mind. I lied. I'm good. We're good to go. We are good to go. Oh, man, I am so happy to be here. So excited about this. I have a fantastic show for you. I also have the William Hill app on my phone up and ready to go so I can answer any questions you have live. Week one point spreads have been released. There are four games that I eyeballed that I'm going to be paying very close attention to because I think there's four games you could really make a lot of money on. There's four games I'm looking here, and I'm like, yeah, you can make some money with these four games. So Denver Gator, welcome, buddy. I'm jacked up today. Listen, I'm very jacked up. I'm 71% sure I'm not on cocaine. 71 and higher. So, that's a very high percentage. So I'm really jacked up today. I got coffee here, an energy drink, so I'm really in good shape. Alex, welcome, brother. How it be? Hope you're able to look into the Texans' thoughts. Texans time to tank with one of the hardest schedules. I did not have time to look at the Houston Texans schedule, but I think it's very interesting. They played Jacksonville week one. They're a 2.5-point favorite, if I remember correctly. I'm actually very excited, very, very excited to watch the Houston Texans Jacksonville game and the way it's going to work out. More than likely, I'm not going to be able to watch that game live, but I am going to watch that game on replay. It's interesting because if Deshaun Watson does start and they're only a 2.5-point favorite, that number is going to go way up. So go ahead and put action down. Now, I did not have a chance to go over their schedule. I mean, you disagree. I actually think the Houston Texans are in really good shape. I think Deshaun Watson's going to play. I think he's going to start day one. I think he's going to be cleared of everything. And I think the Houston Texans are going to be a dangerous team to predict. And I think they're going to be a dangerous team because you got one of the best quarterbacks in football. You have some really good weapons. I think Philip Lindsay is going to be really, really good. You have an upgraded offensive line. They're coming into the season with one of the better offensive lines, believe it or not. And I think the defense is going to be better. The Houston Texans are a team I'm really optimistic about. So 20. Yes, but the majority is I'm not. Stevie, welcome, Stevie. If I'm correct, you're in Iowa. All these numbers I'm going to throw out are on William Hill Sportsbook in Iowa. You can actually make bets on this today. I actually have the app open, but I'm not looking at it currently. Here's the drill. As of right now, the 49ers under 10 wins, it was plus 130. I'm going to stand by this as being gold. I'm just saying. Dan's, you know what? My nose is really itchy, and it's not related to cocaine. So, One Pride 40, what's up, brother? Funk, what is up, man? God damn, I am so happy to see you guys, man. I am so happy to see you guys. All right, Funk says, what's good, chat? Lions got at least the third hardest schedule, and some Lions fans just have us. Oh, real wow. I am going to, in the next couple of weeks, break down the divisions individually. I haven't reached out to Luke G, but I'm going to see if I can get some people to come on the show and talk about their respective divisions, like Luke would talk about the NFC North. I'm going to see if I can reach out to some people that have a little more insight to their home teams and get their opinions. But over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to break down the divisions and kind of what my thoughts are. Right now today, July 7th, which is a Wednesday, I'm going to release my first video breaking out all 32 NFL teams. I'm going to go in draft order. So Jacksonville will be 1. The Jets will be 2. Houston will be 3, even though they didn't pick 3rd. That's how it's going to be. Of course, Tampa Bay will be 32. And what I'm going to do in all videos is I'm going to break down what I like, what I don't like, and then the Vegas over-under, and if I'm putting action on those teams. Spoiler alert, San Francisco right now is the one I'm really circling because that's the one I'm looking at and saying Vegas really fucked up. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. Alex says, you mean you have consumed cocaine? No, Alex, it means I'm 71% sure, even though I'm jacked up, I'm 71% sure or higher, at minimum of 71% sure I'm not on cocaine tonight. That's what it means. You need to look into the Watson stuff. I think he gets suspended. There has been notes going on the Deshaun Watson situation. I think that the NFL, I think he's going to get out of this clear. I really do. I think that when everything comes out, it's going to be shown that he is innocent. This is just a pay grab. And I think he's going to end up clean. And if he doesn't, I'll be the first one to eat my words. But I think he's going to end up clean. I really do. If he does get suspended, that's going to be a kind of a different situation. That's kind of why I'm paying attention that Houston Texans 2.5, the over-under is 4.5. Keep in mind, I would probably take the under. But one thing I will do, it's a new, when I say relatively new, because I've done it before in the past, I learned my lesson. I will not bet on an NFL team with a rookie head coach. So any team with a rookie head coach, just boom, everything's off the table. So 7 wins. The Vegas over under right now is 5, and I think that's a perfect number. I think 5 and 12 is perfect for the Detroit Lions. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I am going to talk about the Detroit Lions. I am going to talk about the Detroit Lions today because their week 1 matchup is extremely interesting. What I think of the Aaron Rodgers situation, here's what I think. I think Aaron Rodgers will play in Green Bay. He'll have an MVP caliber season, barring injury. And I think in 2022, he will be on another team. It'll be very interesting to see where he goes. It could be somewhere completely unexpected. If it wasn't for Justin Fields, I would say Chicago. I would love to see him go to a rival, the Detroit Lions. I would love to see him stay in the division. Being that the Bears drafted Justin Fields, but Minnesota drafted Kellen Mond, so Mond could also be there. But I would love if Aaron Rodgers stayed in the division. Let me ask you this one, Pride 40. The 2022 NFL season, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. How awesome would that be? I think the team overall has grown better, but I don't believe Watson will start. It'll be Taylor. This team will be competitive, but won't win, in my opinion. That's a realistic side. My fan side is saying Super Bowl. So, and Alex, this is actually a great point. This team with Tyrod Taylor can win 5 games, which means they would be a good team to bet on. And then you could see later in the season the rookie quarterback, the kid out of Stanford. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. But here's the thing. This team has gotten better. This team, I think, has gotten significantly better, and they've made some really, really good moves in free agency. And I like what they did in the draft. I gave Davis Mills. Okay. I gave them a D+ because you made draft picks that you gave up a first and a second, so you'd be good this year, and you get 4 wins. So sins and father. But the picks that they drafted, I gave them a B. I think I'd give them a solid B. So that would be a great move. Even if Watson's suspended, how many games is he going to be out? I'm serious. I really think he's going to start the season. That's what I believe. So we're going to. we are going to knock on wood here, but we're going to follow that every Friday. We're going to kind of follow the Sean Watson situation because I'm actually tempted to put over 4.5, but I don't bet on rookie head coaches. So your roster is really leaky. One Pride 40. Your wide receiver core is easily the worst in football. That's hard to say because I'm looking at your wide receiver core. Your best wide receiver is a 4th round draft pick. But here's the thing, though. You're doing everything right. But people that are saying, and I think Luke G is really high on the Lions. I kind of want to get him in, and then he can talk about the NFC North and offer his opinion as a Lions fan. I have not been able to reach out to him yet. This week was kind of hectic, but I'm going to try to get some people in the next couple of weeks and kind of get some back and forth going with somebody besides myself. I know as much as you guys love listening to me and looking at me, I'd like to get a different view on the show. So Salad Dodger with the best name in the chat. I love it. The picture's awesome. Everything's awesome. I hope Darnold doesn't see any ghosts come week 1 against the Jets. You know what? I completely ignored that. They do play the Jets week. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Grumpy old Gringo Senior. Good evening, Dan and everyone. I'm a fan of the Broncos and the Saints. I'm also Denver Gators dad. That is so awesome. Welcome, sir. I apologize for not being 100% professional. If I knew I was getting Denver Gators dad in here, I might have been a little more professional. Welcome to the show, sir. I really hope that you subscribed and you enjoy the content. I don't follow anything else except football, so you're getting some really good football information. And if you're a fan of sports betting, I am going to help you make some money, sir. So welcome to the show. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the Saints. I'm very glad that you brought the Saints up because we will mention the Saints later on. That gives a 29% chance you are on it. And in Vegas, the dealer always. Oh, man. Alex, I have missed you. Yes, we got Denver Gators Senior. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? Dan, I don't know. I know that you're not planning on Detroit being, but I cannot emphasize this enough. They're building the team the right way. They are really on the right path. Just not a chance that they're going to be good this year. Alex, I want nothing to do. Wow. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of weird issues that comes with Aaron Rodgers, but as somebody who's not a fan of any of the NFC North teams, I would love to see Aaron Rodgers stay in the NFC North. I think that he's a Packer in 2021. I think he's not a Packer in 2022. And where he goes is anybody's guess. And I think he could go somewhere in the NFC or in the NFC North to try and get back at the Packers. That's just kind of how I see his personality. It's just my opinion. Aaron Rodgers to Houston. Let's do this. You know, it's actually not that unrealistic. If I remember right, he has a relationship with the Texans coach. I think he was in Green Bay for a while, if I remember correctly. I forgot what you said. I forgot what I'm sorry, man. I'm jacked up today, drinking coffee. The grumpy old Gringo Senior. It is very awesome, sir. So thank you very much. Something about it's itching me. All right. TMU and stuff. I heard Watson and Busby both aren't wanting to settle. Both want to go to court, and I believe that's going. Okay. You're right, but here's the drill. If they are going to court and no legal action's been taken, the NFL can institute a plan. But being that he's fighting in court, that could also show that he's innocent, and that could mean that he could start. And then once the court date has been, or the issues, let's just call it legal matters, have been resolved, then the NFL can institute punishment. However, if they're in court, nothing's been settled by the end of training camp, he will be able to go to training camp. He'll be able to play in preseason. And if it's still going on by the start of the season, he will be able to play week 1. So I think you may be pleasantly surprised, or maybe not surprised, depending on how you feel. I think he's going to start. I think he's going to play. I really do. We only have one safety, no wide receivers, no quarterback. I'm higher on Goff than you are, but I do think that you take a step back. But the thing is, though, Goff's more likely to play, well, now 17, I was going to say 16, than Stafford. So, yes, pride, yes. That means Watson comes in the NFC North. Stay away from the. There will be no professionalism. All right. I already mentioned I'm super jacked up today, man. I am super jacked up. Very excited. UCF Jaguar, what is up, brother? Man, I am doing fantastic. We do have some Houston Texans fans in the chat. What do you think of your week 1 matchup going to Houston? It would be a big win. I actually am very excited about this matchup. Normally, most people wouldn't be excited to see a previous 2 versus a previous 4 win team. Me, on the other hand, I'm very excited. Off topic, what are the odds Tim Tebow makes the team? I'd love to know what your opinion is of the Tim Tebow matter. I didn't even think about talking about it, but I'd love to know what your opinion is. Personally, I love it, but I know there's been a lot of hate about Tim Tebow, but I love bringing him in. I agree. I think the roster is very leaky. The O-line looks complete, but I don't think that they are done with the defensive line. I can tell you this. When John Dorsey was in Kansas City, he made a ton of moves. I think that you'll have about 4 to 5 new starters between now and the start of the season. Trust me, John Dorsey's going to wheel and deal. You'll be making a lot of roster moves, so you're not done yet. Sally Dodger, love. I think you mean love, but isn't it great? I love it, man. I love it. What's the Gator? Never heard. Rodgers to another NFC North in 2022 would be an epic fail by Green Bay. He is still under contract. It kind of would be, but it's kind of funny because the last couple drafts I think have been terrible. But ever since they hired LaFleur, he's been 13-3 both years. I personally think that he's saying all the right things, but I think he wants to get rid of Rodgers and win with his own team and his own quarterback in his own way. And I think that right now, this year, the best thing Green Bay can do is just win with Rodgers and then move on after the offseason. Get some picks, get some maybe something in return. I mean, let's say you do trade him to Houston. Maybe you get Deshaun Watson. Maybe you want to move Love. I'm not really sure. But my take for this year, and that's all I'm kind of focusing on this year, Rodgers, barring injury, will have an MVP caliber season for the Green Bay Packers. So Watson just doesn't seem like he will play at all going into the season. Mills, I believe, will get play time by the end to ease him in within a losing season. If Tyrod Taylor starts the season, Mills will end the season. Yeah, Mills will, if that's the situation. I'm a lot more optimistic than you are. I do 100% firmly believe that Watson, not only will Watson get in, I think he's going to play 17, man. I really do. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? That's easily my favorite. So if women are meeting with the NFL and they could take action, nothing else comes out. But you are correct, Funk. They could. But I think what Watson and the legal team is doing is they're saying that, hey, this is a cash grab. This is a scam. Nothing's been resolved. And if that's the case, and you can prove that's not really a legitimate claim, which I think is going to happen. I think when everything's said and done, this is going to be a cash grab. This is going to be for women that saw an opportunity to make some money without having a real valid basis, and I think it's going to blow up in her face. I really do. I think Watson's going to be clear. I think there'll be action taken against these women, including one or two of these women going to jail. Remember the Duke lacrosse scandal? That woman is in jail, unrelated incident, but I think that the legal team that they put together, I think it's going to blow up in her face. I really do. I think Watson will come out as the victim when everything's said and done. That's just my opinion. But again, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. I have no problem doing that. No problem doing that whatsoever. Chuck Gator, my alternate account, trying to build your. Oh man, that is so awesome, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of things that you need to do to successfully grow a YouTube channel, unfortunately. But I do follow football every single day, and I am going to share my screen here in a moment, and I'm going to show 4 games that really caught my eye. So if you're wanting to put some action down week 1 in the NFL, I got 4 games that you really need to pay attention to. The Houston-Jacksonville game is not one of them. Oh yeah. It's multiple women, and I heard about this. I think it's a cash grab, and I'm gonna stand by it. So, Dan, I don't really think coffee helps the effects of cocaine. I'm not on cocaine. I told you there is a greater than 71% chance, 71% or greater, that I'm not on cocaine. But I am really jacked up. There was a post that Gronk could have went to Detroit, and I'm glad the trade didn't go through. Yeah, Matt Patricia wanted him, and he didn't want to go there. So Tebow tight end. Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. I personally like it, but on social media it's gotten lots of hate, but I like it a lot. He's going to sell at least 10,000 tickets for a preseason game. And me personally, I would like to see, and this could happen. He could line up at tight end, right? Trevor Lawrence, lines up, and then he runs out the wide receiver. Tim Tebow comes back to quarterback. They do a little what do you call it? Zone option down by the goal line. It opens up a lot of different things that you could do, and a coach like Urban Meyer could take a lot of advantage of that versatility. You have to see what kind of shape he's in. I mean, but I love the move. So most of the hate is why I want Tebow to make the roster. It would piss off so many woke as he did. I Funk, man. I have a feeling me and you see eye to eye on a lot of things outside of football and with football. I would love it. And what the best part is that you could use them on the goal line. Or you could easily have them line up as a tight end, and then you could have a motion, and you could have Trevor Lawrence move out as wide receiver. Wouldn't it be great to have like a pop pass? I think you call it the pop pass, where he runs towards the line of scrimmage and gets back and drops one to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good athlete, 6'6", 220, runs, I think, below a 4.7. Why not? So, yeah, I'm pulling for Tim Tebow. It was really weird when he was the quarterback of the Broncos. It was the first, only, and last time I actually cheered for the Denver Broncos. That I think it was 2012. The 2012 season, he had like that 5-game winning streak, and every game was the same thing. It was like 10-7, 14-10, 13-7. He had like 0 for 15, 2 fumbles, an interception, and then in the fourth quarter, he'd be 6 out of 7 for 58 yards and scored a winning touchdown with like 34 seconds left. It was like that for 5 straight weeks. It was awesome. It was the only time I cheered for the Denver Broncos, and it was a weird feeling, man. It was a weird feeling. Because we would have lost out on Ragnow and Hawkinson, I'd rather have those. Oh, Ragnow, I hope that he a lot of times you sign a player to a big time contract, and their production goes down. It happens quite a bit. If the production continues to go up, the offensive line for the Detroit Lions is going to be very, very good. You need a speed receiver. You don't need a good receiver. You need a speed demon to come in there And then you still got TJ Hawkinson, who is, I think, going to have a good year. DeAndre Swift, if he stays healthy, fantasy football star. I expect a big year out of Swift. It's got to stay healthy. So they're doing a lot of good things, man. They're doing a lot of good things. The Jags can definitely win, but I don't know if a longtime college football head coach will adapt to NFL stuff. But we do have Lovey as our DC, so our defense won't be cutting edge. No, your coaching staff is really good. And Lovey Smith, and what Lovey Smith and Romeo Crennel did are two different and separate things. But Lovey Smith will kind of ease it in. And this is why I wouldn't put action on the Houston Texans, is because you have a new coach, a new system, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But I'm really curious how they do in the whole Deshaun Watson situation, which we haven't, we really don't know what's going on. Even in this chat with us, we have different opinions on what's going to happen. But I am actually excited because I kind of want to see how the Texans perform on defense. I kind of want to see the alignments because I'm expecting a base nickel package and then using a lot of Tampa 2 type tendencies, which is completely different than what Romeo Crennel did. But a lot of the changes that they've made in the defensive side of the ball is going to work out. Like Ross Blacklock, he would have played the 5 technique. Well, he's going to move inside and play defensive tackle. That could work and be really, really good. It could also suck. You really don't know. So preseason is going to be a lot of fun for the Houston Texans. I can't wait to watch the defensive side of the ball. And we'll see how Davis Mills look. Of course, Nico Collins, who would look really good in a Chiefs uniform. But hey. James, welcome, brother. Matt, I did not forget about you. I'm not going to air your business out here, but I was going to email you and I won't go there, but I'm very glad you're here. I was going to shoot you an email. So if you don't mind, you got my email address, email me. I don't want to talk about your issues here, but hopefully everything's good, man. I'm very, very, very glad to hear from you, man. It is awesome. I think the Lions will be bad, but not number 1 pick bad. No, I don't think they'll be that bad. No. I think they'll have a top 10. I think they'll have a top 10 pick. And then they also get the Rams first round draft pick, which if the Rams stay healthy, they'll make the playoffs. If they don't, they'll be a top, let's just say 18. Because I could see like 1 or 2 injuries and then finishing, 9-8, 10-7. But if they're healthy, they'll go to the playoffs, and challenge for the NFC West. And I'll talk more about the NFC West later on. So, but yeah, you got 2 picks in the first round, so you have trade capital to trade up to the number 1 pick if you want to do that. You also have 2 picks in the 2023 draft. I don't know the Clemson quarterback's name, but I think he will be the number 1 pick. So, a lot of good things about the Detroit Lions. Just this year's not going to be good. It takes a lot to be a Houston. We always get so close, and yet we always fail. Baseball's our only hope. This is a baseball city, not wow. Okay, I don't follow baseball. In the 90s, I followed basketball. Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon was so much fun to watch. Those 2 years that they won the NBA Finals was as good of a basketball center as I've seen, maybe ever. Olajuwon could do no wrong. It was fantastic to watch. After Jordan retired the second time, I really haven't been a pro basketball fan. A city in Texas being a baseball town is just weird. And I think when the Houston Texans get back to being a good team, it will change. I think. You live there, you have to tell me. I'll tell you this, Kansas City's more of a baseball town than a football town. When the Royals are good, this town's more of a baseball team than a football team, but the baseball team hasn't been good. The football team has. Kansas City's a very fair weather town. Very fair weather. Whoever's winning, that's who we're a fan of. It's funny, the Kansas Jayhawks, I hear this more from the KU fans than any other fan base ever. You ask them, are you a Jayhawk fan? They say the same thing. I am when they're winning. I am March Madness. KU fans don't even watch football. They just watch college basketball. And they have no problem just saying, hey, we're fans when they win. So I can't be a KU fan for that reason. So anyway, I went on an unnecessary rant. My apologies. I'm going to get to this. Actually, I'm going to skip these two, but yes. And you know what? He'll be a college football head coach. And me and you talked. I thought he would be a college football head coach. You said that he was going to stay in the NFL. I think it's a different thing. You are right. It was a political thing, but remember, it started out with that girl crying rape, and it didn't happen. And then the lawyer at the time, he was running for governor, and he used that as a soapbox to promote his political career. This situation, though, stems from the same incident where a girl cries rape and it didn't happen. And I think that's what's going to happen here in the long run. I think next year or the year after that, or whenever this is resolved, it will come out that Deshaun Watson was a victim of a girl claiming, I shouldn't say that word on YouTube, claiming a grape and having it not be true. That's where I think it's the same. But you're right, the political incident. But it stemmed from a girl claiming something happened that didn't happen. And I think that's the same situation with Watson. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stand by it until I'm proven wrong. Mike Bad, this is Chuck Gator, man. I'm glad you're here, man. I can't tell you how great it is to chat with you guys. You know what? I'm sorry to say this. Deshaun Hamilton tore his ACL. I'm not sure he makes the team, though. I mean, you had Tim Sanders, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. There's another guy that they got that's really, really good. So, I mean, sorry about that. The Me Too movement is very political. I guarantee the Watson thing is gaslighted by that movement. Yeah, it is. But I also think that you could flip that, and what they're doing is they can say, hey, look, due to this movement, we should be sure that's innocent till proven guilty. So, like I said, I think when everything's said and done, I think Watson will be perceived as the victim. And I think that until he is proven guilty, the NFL has to let him play. And that's a bad thing about, and you know what, I'm going to stop the rant on the Me Too movement because I think it's caused a lot of damage. I don't think it's necessarily been a good thing. All right. I don't think it's really been a good thing. Am I promoting grape or sexual abuse? No, I am not. I'm not saying that at all. But I think too many people are saying that it happened when it didn't happen. And I think that's the bigger issue. Brian Banks spent 5 years in jail. He was going to USC, then to the NFL. That was destroyed because of a jealous girlfriend. Was it Brian Okafor, the guy at Baylor? He spent 18 months in jail. 18 months. And he didn't do anything wrong. Now, he was a guy that people were saying was going to be the number one pick in the draft. Last I heard, he's trying to play Canadian football. And those things, I think, are a problem. All right, so I'm going to stop my rant. But you are right. You are right. Dan, I don't like those odds for you, even if there's a 99. Yeah, I get it. Drug addicts always lie about their addiction. So to me, I hear there's a 71 chance. Fuck, I'm not on drugs. But I am very jacked up today. I am very, very, very jacked up today. Tebow back in Jacksonville, take a lot of heat off of Lawrence and the young team. Good for the locker room. Jump past the Lawrence would be. I know. I really could see this happening. If you YouTube, I think it's called Hungry Pig, or Stevie Keys is here. He would know. The Dontari Poe pass, the pop pass that he threw on Christmas. I think it was called. I don't want to say it was Red Pig 40 or something like that, but oh God, yes. Throw a screen to the TD and watch Tebow through. Yes, Yes, all these things could happen, and exactly. I'm pulling for Tebow. I am pulling for Tebow, but to be honest, I'll if you had to say what's going to happen, I'm going to say he goes in preseason and he gets cut final cuts. That's what I think happens. I don't think he makes the team, but I am pulling for him. Mike, welcome, brother. Yeah, yeah. Urban Meyer said he is. Yeah, exactly. He kept himself in good shape. You can get very creative with him. He can play tight end, fullback, quarterback on the ground. You can do a whole zone read option. You got two really good running backs. You could get extremely creative. There's no risk. There is zero risk plus 10,000. He gets 10,000 tickets. So Tebow, backup QB. Yeah. If he makes the team, there will be a package where he will take like a few snaps, whether it's from the tight end position, move back to quarterback, or you just put him in instead of Trevor Lawrence and just run power. There's no problem. Hopefully they don't do that with Trevor Lawrence like they do with Josh Allen, but it could happen. So I can't think of any other center that's better than Ragnow, and he's worth the deal. There's no debate about that. Okay, let me rephrase that one, Pride 40. I'm not debating that at all. But what I am saying is that a lot of times a player gets a big time contract and his play just dives way down. Or a player before he got that contract, because if I remember right, he was a second or third round pick. So maybe he played with a pulled hamstring or a sprained ankle because he's trying to get that deal. Well, now that he's got that deal, well, I got a sprained ankle. I'm going to sit out for a week or two. And that happens a lot. Justin Houston, the Chiefs general, matter of fact, it was John Dorsey played hardball Justin Houston. And then Justin Houston responded to a 22 sack season while being phenomenal against the run. If J.J. Watt didn't have 20 and a half sacks, Justin Houston would have been defensive MVP. So then they had to pay Justin Houston $100 million. The next year sat out almost a whole year injured, never came back to being even close to the same player that he was. He had 22 sacks and was a monster against the run. 22 sacks. Like 85% of the time, he wins defensive MVP, but J.J. Watt at 5 technique had 20 and a half sacks, and I think like 10 batted passes or swatted passes. So, yes, James, thank you. Please do, brother. Please do, man. I think the Lions are in a very similar situation to Houston. We both have a QB situation, a bunch of young and promising players plus veterans, and very good draft capital in the next few years. I could see that. I think the Houston Texans, of course, we disagree, but that's okay. The thing is with the Lions, and I'm not really sure how they're going to play this, but I think they did it right in the draft, and they decided to go with Goff in the draft. And then what you do is that you have two. Here's the thing with the Lions. They have 2 first-round picks in 2022 and in 2023. And I think what the Lions are doing is I think they're looking at that Clemson quarterback who came in as a true freshman. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick in 2023. I think they're eyeballing him. And I think they're going to say, hey, look, we're going to take a look at that guy. Because you have Goff for, I think it's 2 years that you have to pay him a large amount of money, whether he's the quarterback or not. Let's say Goff is the quarterback. Well, then, you work with him. You sign him to an extension. But if he's not the guy, then you use draft capital. With Houston, you have your guy in Watson. All right? You have your guy in Watson. You have Tyrod Taylor, who is not as bad as people think. I actually think that he's a decent quarterback. He's not going to lead you guys to, a division title. But, I mean, could you – let's say you get Deshaun Watson, all right? Let's just say he's got to miss 6 games or whatever. And you're going to be 8-3 with Watson. In those 6 games, if he has to get 2 or 3 wins to get to the playoffs, can he do that? The answer is yes. But let's just say without Watson, then you're going to see Tyrod Taylor, and then Davis Mills is going to play a little bit. And if he stays healthy, he may be the guy. It's kind of interesting. It's sort of similar, but I think they're in different situations because I think you have a legit quarterback in Goff. And I think that if Detroit's smart, they say, okay, we're going to do everything we can to make sure Goff can succeed. But if he doesn't, we got enough draft capital that we can get our quarterback in the draft. Don't trade up for a QB in 2022. Do it in 2023. Funk agrees with that statement if he's still here. That's how I would do it. So I think we're on the same. Oh yeah. Drexler. Oh, I forgot when Drexler went there. Oh God, that team was so good. I was Vernon Maxwell, if I remember right. Sam Cassell. I remember Cassell playing at Florida State. There's one other player. I won't say a power forward that you had. Oh God, that team was so good. That team was so good. I haven't watched basketball since at least professionally since the 90s. I've seen a few LeBron James games, and that's basically it. I don't even know who's good right now. I really don't know, like, who's the best team in basketball. I have no clue. That's something that hopefully we're looking at. There are some good quarterbacks in this draft. In 2022, there's some good quarterbacks. I think JT Sullivan, the Georgia kid's going to go number one. So the lawyer in the Duke thing set it up. The women from 2 different states accusing them all, in which had been less than a year ago. Yeah, I mean, it's not comparable. It's not the same thing, but the girl set out to sue them first. All right, so the girl was going to sue no matter what. She got an ambitious lawyer, and I think the same type of situation's going to come up. I think that they got. If you've ever seen Breaking Bad, my favorite television show, Better Call Saul. That's who I think this lawyer is. I think this lawyer talked to a girl. They thought that they could put something together. They got some other girls, and that's the way I look at it. That's my opinion. But I mean, we still got a lot of things that we're going to go over. And Funk, you know this better than anybody, man. I'll say I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I have no problem saying, hey, I'm wrong. Deshaun Watson's a terrible guy. I have no problem. But I think I'm going to stand by this. Watson's a victim. Our team here, the Astros, are the only team that have won a championship in the last few years. Texans have gotten worse because of owner incompetence, bad management. I mean, oh, dude, the Houston Oilers were such an awesome team, and I don't even. Oh, you mentioned the 93 playoff game. Montana's last magical. Well, not his last magical moment, but last playoff victory was that game. That was a good one. That was like the highlight of my Chiefs fandom, winning that game, because I remember that Houston team was just so good. All right, sorry, went on rant. All of our teams in Detroit. You just wait till 2022. If it means anything, I was born in Baltimore. I used to go to Baltimore Colts games, showing my age a little bit. I was in Baltimore when the Colts moved in Mayflower trucks in the middle of the night. Like, I woke up and then the football team was gone. And I didn't know this till a couple of years ago. We had to move, and there were several different places we could move to. And my dad chose Kansas City because the Chiefs he wanted to take me to the football games. So that's kind of the reason why we moved out to Kansas City, is because we had a football team. And I didn't know that till a couple of years ago. But I was in Baltimore when the Colts left, and it was devastating. So you are rebuilding. The Me Too movement is pushed only during a political calendar. Oops. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Me and you agree on a lot of things. Tigers got AJ Smith. Y'all be good to that, man. I have no idea who that is. No idea who that is. I'd be a little surprised if Tebow got cut. I think him and Meyer are in love. I think they have a good relationship. They actually work together on ESPN and seem to have good on-camera chemistry. I do think he gets cut. I really do. I think he gets cut. I don't think he makes it, but I'm pulling for him. But if I had to say, what I think's going to happen, I don't think he makes it. I think he gets up to the final cut. I don't know if I'm right. There's 3 preseason games, and however many are in Jacksonville. They're going to sell out just due to Tebow. And but ultimately, I don't think he makes team. God, my nose itches. I'm not on drugs. I wasn't able to watch the Oilers for a while, but I got into baseball. But in a time I saw them, there was nothing but love. Still pissed. Yeah, dude. What really sucked is that when the Colts came, the Colts would always be able to beat Kansas City at Arrowhead, and it sucked because they didn't even change the team. They still called them the Colts, and yeah, man. I trust me. I know firsthand how you feel. I know that feeling, but it's cool that you got a team, and it's kind of weird because like the Ravens to me. Now I lived in Kansas City, been a Chiefs fan for I think it was 15 years. So people ask if I'm a Ravens fan. It's like, not really. I still have relatives in Baltimore, and they're not as high on the Ravens as they were on the Colts. It's a different feel, but the organization's first class in Baltimore now. Where under Bob Irsay, the previous owner, it was not. It was a complete shit show. So I cried tears of joy if we trade up for a DJU. I don't know who that is, man. Houston needs a new center. The guy we got from Seattle still good, but young. I had no idea. Still hates the Jazz. I forgot about that. I loved the Utah Jazz. John Stockton was my favorite player, man. I loved John Stockton. He had those short shorts. Dirtiest player of all time. Dirtiest player of all time. But he looked like a choir boy. Texans should have drafted Creed. I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I'm drawing a complete blank. The Texans or the Texans. Are you talking about the Texans or the Lions? I know one Pride 40 thinks the Lions are drafting best player available. I don't think so, but yes, I agree with the wait till 2023 for the quarterback. Sorry, I'm making dinner. No, dude. But yeah, if the Lions can trade back in 2022 and pick up a third, first in 2023, they use a ton of draft capital to secure. Okay, that's his name, DJ. Yeah, I really think that's who the Lions are going for. I think we should take the Oregon defensive end. I know you love that kid. So what rookie quarterback was put in the worst position? That was Trey Lance. Easily the worst position because the 49ers are not that good of a team. He's going to be expected to play sometime this year. And not only does he have to adjust to the NFL speed due to sitting out, he has expectations of being a savior. People in San Francisco still think that they're a good team. The Vegas over-under is 10. So even with 17 games, you're 10-7, you're expected to be a playoff team. Fields may or may not start. I don't think he will. The Bears are smart. They don't play him at all this year. Zach Wilson, I mean, let's say he starts day one, which I think he will. Jets win 7 games. Are fans happy? Probably. They should be. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, let's just say they win 2 games in Jacksonville, which I think they'll win more. But let's just say they win 2 games. They can say it's no big deal. No big deal. We're just building for year 2. So it's easily Trey Lance. Was the old AJ Hinch was the old Houston manager that was fired. Okay, the old cheating thing. Really? I didn't know that. Take Thibodeau and move on from Flowers, draft a linebacker or 2 with pure speed and coverage skills and switch to more of a 4-3 with the wide 9s with beef in the middle of that line. It could work nice. Well, what you're going to do is you are going to go to a 4-3. At least that's what the Saints ran, but they didn't do that wide 9. They just played basically a 4-3. They drafted a lot of good secondary players. You know what? On that note, I am going to go ahead and take advantage of this because I don't think I'm ever going to catch completely up, but I'm going to try to answer all of them. All right, here I got a special treat for you guys. This is something that I want you guys to pay attention to, and I'm going to share my screen here. And okay, I'm going to bring up 4 games that I really want to pay attention to. Actually, I can put the banner on there. Yeah. And I'll try to get everybody's comments here. There's 4 games I really want people to pay attention to for the NFL season. All right, the first game I'm going to talk about is Minnesota at Cincinnati. The line's only 3. All right. Here's the drill. We don't know who the Bengals starting quarterback is. Is Burrow going to be back from injury? You don't know that. So why is the line only 3? You know Zimmer is going to have that defense amped up. All right. You know Zimmer's going to have that defense amped up. So you have a questionable offensive line. You don't know the quarterback situation. If it is Burrow, is he 100%? I really thought that this would be a lot higher. I really firmly believe that this is a good move. If you can get 3, which you can get now. Am I betting on this today? No, I'm not. But this is something I'm really keeping an eye on because if it's at 3 and Burrow starts week 1 and he looks at all shaky, I'm betting the house on this. Minnesota, I think, easily wins this game. 3 is a good number. So this is something I'm really looking forward to. Next game I'm looking at is San Francisco at Detroit. This is gambling 101. If you don't know anything else about gambling, if you take a home dog by a big margin, that's always a good thing to bet on. 7.5 is a big number in the NFL. It's a very big number. And it's 7.5 for a road, a 7.5 point spread for a road team. This is very unusual. If you don't do sports betting, it's very rare that a road team will be over a touchdown favorite. And here's the thing. You've heard me say this. I don't think San Francisco is that good of a team. Normally, I don't put a lot of emphasis on height or how excitement of a city. Normally, I don't, but I got a feeling Detroit is going to be really, really amped up. I don't think San Francisco is going to be that good of a team. I really think week 1 could be very exciting. And keep in mind, Jared Goff, he's seen this wide 9 defense. He's familiar with it. So he'll know how to attack it. I'm not saying Detroit's going to win, but I don't think that this is going to be a blowout. So I'm going to pay attention to this. This is the game I really thought. Now, I understand Kansas City and Cleveland wouldn't generate the type of buzz that Brady versus the Cowboys is going to generate, but the Cowboys didn't make the playoffs last year. The Browns did. So this is a game that even if you're not a Chiefs or a Browns fan, I would think you'd be pretty excited to watch. I'll talk about this in a little more detail later on, but the Browns went from being a perennial loser to winning a playoff game. And normally what happens when you have that big of a jump is you come back down. Kansas City, under Andy Reid, I think his record in Kansas City, if I remember right, for opening day wins is 7-1. I think it's 6 straight. The one loss was the weirdest game of all time. Alex Smith threw 6 interceptions the whole season, 3 in that opening day loss. Both Mike DeVito and Derek Johnson, both of them were team captains, ruptured their Achilles. Weird. Both incidences were. Well, I know Derek Johnson he wasn't even touched. He just fell down. Mike DeVito, if I remember correctly, he played defensive end in that 3-4 defense Sutton was running. Just pushed off and just popped. Very weird game. The only season opener Kansas City lost. Andy Reid's season openers is as good as gold. 6 is a big number, but I do like Kansas City. I'm going to kind of eyeball this because I think Cleveland's going to get a lot of hype. I think this will actually be around 5, maybe even 4.5. I'm probably going to put action on this. Finally, and this is something I am shocked. This is my number one game I am eyeballing because a lot of sports books are taking Green Bay completely off the books. Okay. This is the William Hill app, the Iowa Sports app. Now, could the odds be different in Jersey, Vegas? It could be. I haven't looked. I have access to the William Hill in Iowa. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. So I have access to the William Hill app in Iowa. This is the one I'm using. When Westgate comes out with some more numbers, I'll use Westgate. I do have access to the Westgate app in Las Vegas, but I decided to use the William Hill in Iowa because I got a feeling this is going to be the one I'm going to use. I probably won't be able to go to Vegas this year. So this is what I'm going to put action on. Green Bay is a 2.5-point dog at New Orleans. Okay, let's say Aaron Rodgers, because we talked about Aaron Rodgers earlier. Let's say Aaron Rodgers starts day one. Who's the Saints quarterback? It's still up in the air. Marshawn Lattimore, remember he had, I think it was a DUI right before the draft. He may not play week one. Who's going to cover Adams? I think this is a game where I think Green Bay wins. Green Bay wins, and you know what? Hold on. I think I got that wrong. I actually got that wrong. I am sorry. This is really bad of me. No, that's right. Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. Okay. Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. Why? You lose Breeze. You lose Emmanuel Sanders. You didn't replace them. You may lose Lattimore. That's still up in the air. I think Green Bay wins this game. Plus, I get 2.5 points. So I really like these games. These are 4 games I'm going to eyeball for week one. There's a good chance that I'm going to put action on all 4 of these. So I kind of thought I'd share that with you. Those are 4 of my observations. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here. I'm going to go ahead and get your comments in here. I haven't looked, and I don't know who that is, or DeMarin Field. Okay. This year's draft for Houston. You guys got some good players. Okay, you were talking about – okay, I got you. I don't agree with that. I really think that you put an emphasis on the offensive and defensive line and you build your team inside out. It's an old school philosophy is that you get your offensive line and your defensive line right, and then skill position players you add later on. Now that football's changed, it's more of a passing league. A lot of people feel that skill position talent is more important than the offensive and defensive line. I think that what the Lions did is they came into this draft and said, we gotta improve the defensive line. But at pick number 7, if Sewell's available, that's our guy, and that worked. So that's just my opinion. I forgot about Lambeer. Yeah, Lambeer. Lambeer was dirty. Yeah, I love Bill Lambeer. I forgot about Lambeer. Yeah. Okay, Lambeer was more obviously dirty. John Stockton was sneaky dirty. John Stockton was very sneaky dirty. Players hated Stockton, but because he was short, he looked like a choir boy. You know, if you're a 6'11" dude, you don't want to beat up a 6-foot dude because you look, it looks bad. Lambeer, he just picked fights with everybody. But dude, Stockton was a dirty dude, man. So, well, here's the thing. I don't think Fields is going to play this year. But, okay, and by the way, what One Pride 40 is saying is he disagrees with which quarterback is in the worst situation. I think it's Lance. He says it's Fields. But here's the thing. Fields is not expected to start day one. You have Andy Dalton, and then you have Nick Foles. So you have Dalton and Foles. Fields should just sit all of this year. So he doesn't have anything. That I'll disagree on. They were a 2-win team last year. Bengals desperately needed O lineman to protect their QB. They did draft one in the second round, and they also got, I think, 2 in free agency. They got starting right tackle. Jonah Williams was their first round pick in 2019 towards ACL in training camp. Played last year. He actually played pretty good. And they also drafted, I think it was Billy Price in 2018. Or no, I think it's, 2018. He was the first round pick, never panned out. They moved him to guard. He looks like he's going to be good. His teammate at Ohio State, Michael Jordan, also played starting guard. They also got somebody else in free agency. Plus, they got a right tackle. And they also traded down in the second round. They got a guard out of Clemson. Some people think that they reached for him, but he'll be able to play too. So you solidified the interior. Plus, you got Jonah Williams, who essentially was a rookie last year, played pretty well as left tackle. And you also got a new right tackle. So I disagree with that. They failed spectacularly. It's just a lot of under the radar moves, but they did improve their offensive line a lot more than people give them credit for, especially Billy Price. He was a Remington Award winner, just bombed, complete bust in the pros. If he could be successful and move to guard, you actually have a chance to succeed. So their offensive line situation is not as bad as most people think. And they did get a guard in the second round, and they got 2 starters in free agency. So, and Jonah Williams on the left side, he was the 11th pick in the draft. He was a good draft pick. He just got injured. That's not the Bengals' fault. But he did play well as left tackle. So you have your left tackle, right tackle. The interior's good. They did a lot more than people think. I'm not sure that they're going to be a good team. I'm not sure they're going to be in a good team. And what's his name? The quarterback, Zach something. He's definitely on the hot seat. Definitely on the hot seat. Fields was in the worst position. Chicago is a dumpster fire right now. Lance won't be pushed to start till something happens to Jimmy. Okay. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, if you follow his career, he's not been able to stay healthy. All right. Lance will play sometime this year. I'm telling you this right now. He will play sometime this year, whether it's early, middle, or late, he will start. Fields you got 2 starting quarterbacks besides Fields. The defense is still very solid. They were able to sign Allen Robinson. Cole Kmet's coming back. He was a really good tight end prospect. The only reason he lasted until second rounds, remember, he pitched in the offseason. You still got Jimmy Graham. You still got Anthony Miller. You have that 5th round pick. Mooney, he really flashed. David Montgomery took off. You get Tariq Cohen. They're not as bad as people think. I think Chicago could push for a playoff spot. But if they're smart, and I don't know if they are, Fields sits. He sits all of this year. Doesn't play at all. Plays in preseason. And I think he sits in the film room with Foles. I think he sits in the film room with Dalton. And I think he learns. This is a very complex offense. All right. Matt Nagy came from Kansas City. He wants to run an Andy Reid type of offense. And he actually has the skill position talent to do it. He doesn't have the quarterback. All right. Dalton will be able to mentally process everything, but he doesn't have the physical tools to really do what's necessary. If everything around him is good, he could lead you to like a 10, 11 win season. Same thing with Foles. Now, Justin Fields in 2022 will be a step up. I don't think Fields has any responsibility to start. And if they're smart, he sits on the bench the whole season. We'll have to find out what happens. Chicago still has a good defense and now a good quarterback. They have no O-line. Yeah, that's why I don't want him to sit. He playing at left tackle. I think Jake Long, I don't know if he retired after the season. I know he's in Kansas City now. The offensive line wasn't that good to begin with. Part of that was the quarterback situation being kind of goofy. But they do got a rookie left tackle, which is dangerous. And they do have some offensive line problems. The defense, you're 100% correct, is still solid. The defense is still very solid. The defense could be a top 10 defense, could be a top 5 defense if everything works out right. But Fields, I'm telling you, I don't think Fields is going to play this year. Well, okay. He's not going to start. He's not going to start. Alex, they should have took Sewell. Well, they traded up to 10. I actually like the fact that they took Jenkins. I just thought he was going to play on the right side. I have no idea why they would cut Leno. I didn't think he was terrible. So Burrow's supposed to be back, but I don't know if he'll be back to perfect. I'm drawing a blank here. Sorry about that. They should have. Once again, Lions robbing the Bengals. Oh, okay. You think the Bengals? Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about the Bears. The Bengals should have took Sewell. No, I don't think they should have. They drafted a left tackle a couple of years ago. He got injured in training camp, but he's solid. In free agency, they got a right tackle. They drafted a guard in the draft. They also got they still got Billy Price and Michael Jordan. Both those guys are starters. They have some good. They actually have a lot more going on the offensive line, but I actually think the Bengals could be a good team if everything works out right. It's just a question of if everything works out right. So, Lions are a better version of the Bengals. Even with I'll be honest with you. Who knows? Burrow may not start. And to tell you the truth, there's a lot of similarities between Goff and Burrow. There's a lot of similarities. Burrow's more mobile, but they both are really hyper accurate quarterbacks. Both are what I call natural passers. Burrow's a little more athletic, but after that knee injury, we'll have to see what happens. So, road team going from the West Coast to an East for an early game, all that pays into it. Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of things I really like about Detroit and San Francisco week 1. A lot of things I like, and I'm definitely going to be pulling for Detroit. So, all right, sorry. Okay, where I'm at. Okay, I'm not too far behind. A little betting tidbit for you guys. Dan is spot on about favored road games, but looking to betting underdogs to cover for preseason starts. Bet big on bet spreads. Injuries, free agency will start. You're 100% correct, Gator. You're 100% correct. These are just the opening lines, and these are 4 games that I'm really going to eyeball. After July 7th, I'm going to start breaking down the over-unders for the teams, and I'm keeping track now that they go up or down. I was really, really wanting to kick off the NFL season in Vegas. That's kind of the dream, but more than likely, I'm not going to be able to do that. At least that's how things look right now. So what I'll do is I'll probably drive to Iowa the weekend before the NFL season, put some action over-unders, and maybe some week 1 action. Anything that I bet, I'm going to document, tell you guys ahead of time, because unlike other people that tell you to do this and do that, and then who knows what they're doing, you're going to see, I'm going to actually show you my bet slips. What I'll do is I have these sticky notes. I'm going to, cover the bet, all the bet numbers and everything like that. But you'll see, I'll show you guys the bet slips. You guys will actually see the bet slips. I'll show you exactly what I'm betting on, and hopefully some of you guys can take advantage of what I'm doing to make some money on your own. One of the things I wanted to do for James and I haven't had a chance to is because he requested some information about Michigan sports betting. I'll need to do that. And then also I plan to, before the season, I'm going to do like another Gambling 101 video for those of you that are interested in doing that. So, Funk, what's your opinion of the 2022 QB class? Lines start to drop 3 to 3.5. If you get early high spreads preseason, jump on them now. Hard to clear in tech. No, you're 100% correct. The only reason why I'm not jumping all over these right now is because so much can happen between now and the beginning of the season. Somebody could easily tear their ACL. The only thing I would strongly recommend betting on now is San Francisco 49ers under 10. As of a few minutes ago, it was plus 130. So a $100 wager will win you $130. I think there's no possibility the 49ers win 11 games. At 10, let's say they win 10 games, they go 10-7. That's a push. But I don't see them having a winning season. I think they're easily the worst team in that division. So that's the one thing I'm like, look, bet on this. You can bet on this now. Holmes said he was following his board, best player available 101. That I didn't know. One thing I will tell you is that GMs sometimes say that, but here's the deal. Do you expect him to come out and say, Yeah, our defensive tackles are absolute trash. We need to get rid of them. But when I look at the Detroit Lions, the number one thing you had to change was that defensive front seven. So what'd you do? You drafted a bunch of front seven players. It's kind of funny how they needed front seven help, and then they drafted a bunch of front seven help. Because here's the deal. If you're Holmes, you can't come out and publicly trash your front seven because you still want some of these guys to help. You still want some of these guys to contribute. But what'd you do? You drafted a bunch of front seven players, which you needed to do. And you also brought some in free agency. What'd you bring in at linebacker? Was it Alonzo from the Saints? Alex Alonzo, something like that? Your front seven was garbage. You needed to improve that. And you used the draft to improve it. But if you sit here and you say, hey, we just drafted the best player available, you don't rub anybody wrong in the locker room. Plus, you also get front seven help, which you really needed. So, not overly impressed, but of course, my opinion. Yeah, and keep in mind, there's always going to be a quarterback who could come out of obscurity and have a fantastic season. There's actually a lot of good quarterbacks. But I think the 2023 class, that Clemson kid, I'm just like, wow. I mean, Notre Dame for his first start, that's a big game. And really, they should have won that game. And I'll stop that rant there. But one pride the Lions drafted how I would best player at a position. Yes. That I believe because Ozurike and the defensive tackle of NC State, both those guys should have went well. Ozurike was a late first, early second, and if I remember right, the pick was 40. He probably should have went 5 to 15 slots before somewhere in there. And then the guy you got in the third round, he should have gone in the second round. And those are two really, really good picks. Jets. I don't know what the Jets over under is, but I'm not betting on it unless it starts shooting up. And that's another thing, Mike, is that if I'll be honest with you, I'm hoping Zach Wilson has a fantastic preseason and that over under just shoots way up because I would take the under if it's high. If I remember right, I think it's 5.5. I could be wrong. Trust Riley Reef is really bad. The whole roster in the late 80s for the Pistons was dirty. I love my bad boys. Oh, I forgot about that. Isaiah Thomas was very dirty. OFYSA. Yeah, Stockton's one of my favorite players. I love Stockton. I should have mentioned Isaiah Thomas. And it's kind of funny if you watch the Jordan Rules. I did love the Jordan Rules. And even though Jordan didn't say that he didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the dream team and he wasn't involved, I kind of think he was. Because they interviewed Isaiah Thomas. He's like, look, man, I was like 10-time All-Star. But I mean, who deserved it more, Stockton or Thomas? I think it was Stockton. I'll stand on that. Nothing against Isaiah Thomas, one of my favorite players. So you got no, I didn't say they reached it all. So no. Plus, I believe in Lance Camp. Okay, I think Lance can be a great starter. All right, but I think if he plays this year, he will not be a good quarterback. He's got to adjust to the speed, and then the Niners have a bad team. All right, they have a bad football team. All right. Lance, in a perfect situation, starts in 2022. Maybe the last 3 to 4 starts of the season, once they win, 4 games, they're 4-12, or I'm sorry, it would be 4-9 or 4-10. Then he plays the last couple games of the season. But if you're going to tell me, hey, Lance starts as a rookie and we're going to the playoffs, no. I mean, look. You lose your run game coordinator. He's taken over as the offensive coordinator for the Jets. You lose your defensive coordinator. He takes over as head coach. So you lose 2 key assistants, okay? Tevin Coleman, Richard Sherman. There's a few other names. There is a lot of things that the 49ers lost this year. The team got worse, not better this offseason. And they were a 6-win team to begin with. So now you draft a rookie quarterback who didn't play last year. He comes from a small school. So yeah, I like Lance. I didn't like him to San Francisco at 3. I just didn't. I would have liked him later to San Francisco because here's the deal. San Francisco gave up a first this year, a first next year, and a first in 2023. And Lance isn't going to be ready till 2022. So that first round draft pick in 2022, that's a top 10 pick. And you'll see in a few months when I'm putting money on San Francisco to go under 10 wins. And hopefully that number keeps going way up. So Riley Reef is horrible. You don't want that as a big. Hey, y'all, I'm going to head off, talk some baseball stuff to catch up on. Great show tonight. Hey, Alex, it is fantastic hearing from you. You enjoy baseball. I know nothing about baseball, so it works out perfect. I really hope you're back next week, man. I really hope you're back next week. It was great to see you, brother. But at least you don't call it a Las Vegas Reacher. Sorry, Funk. I agree. Yeah, your front 7 was it's not that okay. All their picks were good value. The Purdue linebacker I know nothing about. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, yeah, he should go in the second round. You got I don't know him. The first 3 picks, all 3 of them, you could make a strong case they should have went earlier. All 3 of them should have went earlier. So it makes sense. It makes sense. So that's kind of the way I look at it. That's just my opinion. But I think your front 7 was bad, and I think they attacked it. Did they go best player available? Maybe. I mean, I don't think they did. I really think that what they did is say, okay, good offensive line, good defensive line, and then we'll fill in the skill position players and everything else. Because they got the quarterback, good offensive line. You sign Ragnow to a big deal. You get the best offensive lineman, which is the best player available. And then you solidify the defensive line where you really needed a lot of help on. Did they go best player available? Sure. All right. I think they went after offensive and defensive lines. And it's old school philosophy. Good defensive line, good offensive line, build a team out. Where now people are trying to build, skill position talent and then have a mediocre offensive and defensive line. So it's an old school philosophy versus a new school philosophy. So it'll be interesting to see how it works. I can't tell you for a fact that they didn't. I just think they attacked the defensive line. The 49ers are a good team, in my opinion. Well, all right. They're 6-10 last year. They lost players via free agency. I think Richard Sherman's a big loss just in the locker room. They lose their defensive coordinator. They lose their run game coordinator, Mike LaFleur. I think those are big losses. If you had to say San Francisco better or worse than they were last year, I'm going to say worse. And they're a 6-win team last year. So that's why I don't think they're a good team. I actually do too. And 7.5 is a good number. So that's why I like 7.5. I'm hoping the 49ers get hype and it goes up to 8. But I honestly think that line is going to drop. I think by kickoff, it's probably going to be 6.5. So that's just something interesting to pay attention to, because if you're in Michigan, if you're in the state of Michigan, you have the opportunity to put action down on sports betting. You can take the Lions and 7.5. You don't have to win. You just got to cover. And I do think that's a game I really think that line's going to change. And I think the Lions will cover that. I really believe that. And like I said, I'll show you my bet slip. But right now, if this line's available, yeah, I'm probably putting money on the Lions week 1. Pride, yeah. The Raiders going to Raider. Mayak. You're right. They made a lot of mistakes in the last couple drafts, but when they hired Mayock as a Chiefs fan, I was like, oh shit. But when they drafted Klein Powell at 4 overall, and they said, well, he's just as good as Bosa, I'm like, what are you watching? Because I actually thought that was the year they had the 4th pick, the 24th pick, and the 27th pick. And then the 24th pick was Abram, and then the 27th pick was Jacobs, and those two were good picks. But I remember I did a mock draft, and I thought they would draft Klein Powell at 24, even though I had him as a like a mid-round pick. But there's no way he should have gone 4th, and he's been a complete bust as of right now. So. But they did draft a lot of safeties, which is interesting. But as a Chiefs fan, I don't fear the Raiders at all. 2019, they should have drafted Josh Allen. Was that the year there? No. It was actually, this is I'm probably going to get some hurt here, but when they had the 4th overall pick, Gruden coached in the Senior Bowl, and Drew Lock was coached by John Gruden. Apparently, Gruden fell in love with him and actually thought he would go number 4. And instead, they decided that they were going to build the team around Carr. And there still are. And Carr, by the way, is playing some good football. Is he playing elite? Here's the thing about Carr. He's in the division with Patrick Mahomes, so he doesn't look as good, but I think his completion percentage was like 71, threw for over 4,000 yards. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not Mahomes. So, LaFleur is a pass game coordinator. Okay. He's actually the offensive coordinator of the Jets. I thought he was the run game coordinator, but he was a key assistant coach for the 49ers. Now he's the offensive coordinator for the Jets. So, that's why I think the 49ers are going down. And if they do want to start Lance week 1, that's fantastic. I would love it, but I hope they don't reveal that until I can go ahead and put action on the Niners to win 10 games, because a lot of that has to do with a veteran quarterback in Garoppolo starting and the talented quarterback in Lance. And I think Lance is extremely talented. I just don't see him starting this year and the Niners making the playoffs. Hence, bet under 10 games. So, the whole roster was hurt last year for the Niners. The team will still be better this year for sure. Well, maybe. I mean, Sherman's not coming back. Tevin Coleman's gone. You lose the defensive coordinator. You lose a run game coordinator. And you can't bank on players to come back 100%. You just can't. You can't bank on Kittle having 100 catches, 1,500 yards, and being the best tight end in football or the second best tight end in football. You can't bank on that. Debo Samuel hasn't been able to stay healthy. Brandon Ayuk, talented, but you can't count on him to stay healthy. The offensive line had some injury issues. Who's replacing Sherman? You don't know. Jason Verrett's never been able to stay healthy. So you can't sit here and say they're going to be better. Bottom line, I think they got question marks. Like I said, I'm going to bet on them as of right now. Under 10 is plus 130. Those are fantastic numbers, and I'll bet on that all day long. Because here's the deal. Arizona got better. The Rams got better. Seattle got a little better, but they were a 12-win team. Forget what happened in the playoffs. They were a 12-win team on the regular season. All 3 of those teams got better. San Francisco, you're just kind of hoping got better. Who'd they add in free agency? I know who they lost. They lost Solomon Thomas. That was another name. Solomon Thomas, who never panned out, third overall pick. Actually, I have to double check that. No. I think he's gone. Tevin Coleman gone. Richard Sherman. I think Richard Sherman and Robert Saleh are big losses for the 49ers. But that's just my opinion. But in this channel, this is a place where we just talk football, and you never have to agree with me. You can always disagree with me, and that's great. That's fantastic. So anyway, hey, look, guys, give me a thumbs up. My throat's starting to get a little, so I'm going to wrap things up here. Please don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section. By the way, you guys can always email me, and then below is all my social media. Basically, all I do is talk football on my social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. It's basically all social media stuff. The only thing, every now and then I post something personal on Facebook, but it's pretty rare for the most part. And then you can always email me. If you do email me, I will email you back. Or if you want to, I will go ahead and make a comment on the show. So, oh, Josh. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, they should have took Josh Allen. And honestly, because they had the former defensive coordinator they had that year was the Bengals defensive coordinator. Now they're bringing in a bunch of the old assistants. They brought in the old defensive coordinator from the Chargers, which he was with Gruden in Tampa Bay when they won a Super Bowl. So is Rod Marinelli, who was also on that coaching staff. So even though they're running a cover 3, it's going to be a lot of Tampa 2 philosophies in that defense, and Josh Allen would have been perfect. That's another thing I really like about Jacksonville. I didn't talk too much about it, but Jacksonville's going to run more of a 3-4. Josh Allen's a 3-4. Kavion Chasen's more of a 3-4 guy. And Jacksonville could have they're building a really solid defense in Jacksonville. They have some really good pieces. I just don't think enough's going to come together for them to be a legitimate threat this year, but they're doing everything the right way. So I saw an interview with Sherman. He hinted he would be going back, but he wouldn't do anything till the end of the offseason. Really? Because I remember even before the season, he said he wasn't going to sign, and he was really big with Salah. I was actually expecting him to go to the Jets, and then the Jets drafted 5 defensive backs late in the draft. But I don't think Sherman's going back. But, if he does, that's something to consider, but I don't think that's enough. I think him if he does come back, it's going to help. Don't get me wrong, but I'd be shocked about that. But it's something I'm going to follow. But I'm telling you right now, let me ask you this, Funk. I'm going to end the show here right now. Do you really think the 49ers are going to win 11 games? Do you really think that in that division with the with the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals, all playoff teams, do you really think San Francisco is going to be able to win 11? I'm saying no. And that's where I'm going to end it. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining. It's my favorite thing to do is just get together and just talk football. So thank you for making that happen. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends. And I will see you guys next Friday.